address both questions in my response. The first question that I'll respond to is, what would I ask you? And I didn't tell you a little bit about my personal background because a lot of it, quite frankly, is on my website and in my materials, but I'll share this with you. You know, my grandmother was a school teacher. My grandfather was a lawyer who never went to law school. He just took the Louisiana bar exam and passed and was given a law license. Neither one of my parents graduated from college. My father attended for a short time, but he had to give that opportunity up. In my immediate family, I am the only person who has gone to college and earned a degree, and I got it from Texas A&M University. When I graduated in 1992, the market was soft. I couldn't find a job. I didn't go occupy Wall Street. Picked up a newspaper and found a job selling cars. I then decided, after about a year and a half, worked for Coca-Cola for a while, decided to go to law school at night. I would work during the day and started classes at night. I put myself through law school. No help with my parents. I graduated first in my class. That opened up a world of opportunity for me that I never would have had but for that education. But I've actually been out in the district for the last several months. I resigned from the partnership of a national law firm last July, and I have not taken another job. I've spent all of my time and all of my energy and my own personal resources out talking to you, the voters. I've sat down with industry leaders in the district. I've toured the Port of Beaumont. I've toured the Port of Freeport. I've sat down with educational leaders. I've asked them the tough questions. What is it that you want from your congressman or woman? In this case, I hope it's a woman. They've given me their time, and their time is very precious, and I appreciate it. But one of the things I'm hearing from them is not that we need more kids to go to college. We definitely want that opportunity to be available to anyone who dreams of it. If it's part of a person's American dream, they ought to have the right to do it and the opportunity. But what I'm also hearing, and this is the part that's really, really important, is that this is a local issue. When I talk to educators at the junior college level or at the high school level, what they tell me is that not every kid in their classrooms are going to be able to go to college. It's just not their bailiwick. Talk to the industry leaders, folks like at Dow and BASF. What they tell you is they have employees who are on the cusp of retirement, and they need a new workforce to come in and supply the intellectual ability, the manpower to keep their businesses going and operating. And they have joined forces with local colleges to help support and enhance their programs to help young people live their American dream, to live in their community and work in their facilities. Education, my friends, is a local issue. I have a great education, not because I'm special, but because I have parents who believed in me and who made it possible for me to go. The rest was up to me. And that's what this country is about. It's about having a firm foundation for family, taking advantage of opportunities, and embracing the American dream and living it to the fullest.
Thank you. And this next question is for all of you. It's actually a fun one that you have. Go ahead. You're on.
We're on. Now we're on.
Yeah.
I think the question was, what question would I have for the audience?
Yes.
It's kind of a rhetorical question, really, because you're here. Do you care deeply about America? Do you care enough about our country? Will you come back next time, tongue-in-cheek, I'm up here as your congressman, and you double the size of this audience? We come back for another one of these discussions. Will you hold your elected officials accountable?
Yeah.
I was an election clerk and election judge, precinct chair for 16 years. I had to resign to run for state rep. Previous to that, I had run for county commissioner and got beaten by state rep in '96. I stayed in the Republican Party. I went to school at night to finish my degree at UH Clear Lake, and I kept our baby girl on Wednesdays. I worked 45 hours a week. I finished my degree at night. Nobody helped me either. Brenda and I both paid for our degree. She went on Wednesday to finish up her teaching degree. I still stayed involved in the Republican Party. And I want to know, will y'all spread the word so that we don't lose our country? Will you stay involved? Will you bring others with you? Will you teach our kids the history that we had growing up that they're not getting today? American exceptionalism. You can check my record out. As a Republican, I've never voted in the Democratic primary. There are those on this stage that have voted in the Democratic primary and have given money to Democratic candidates. I've never. When it was hard in Missouri County, and we swapped the county from Democrat to Republican, we worked night and day. I gave of my money. Will you give of your money? Will you give of your time? Will you make sure that your elected officials pay attention to our needs, the questions you do have? Will you stay engaged when it's not easy? When it's not comfortable, you have to get out of your comfort zone. I believe you will, because you care about this country, because you're Republicans. And lastly, will you double the size of this group the next time I come back? Thank you.
Well, based on Mr. Weber's statement there, we do have one of those questions. I will give each of you the chance to say if you have ever made a campaign contribution to a Democratic candidate in a race, and I will start with Mr. Gadd.
No, I have not. Never, never, never.
Absolutely not.
No. It's interesting to hear these answers from folks who don't live in Jefferson County. You know, I don't believe the Republican Party is about trying to exclude people. I believe we're here to include people. And I believe living in a community where we haven't had a choice in the Republican Party for our local officials for my lifetime, that we should be glad and embrace the moment that we are being given right now to look to the future, to provide conservative leadership and values for our community and for our country, and not start playing word games or prejudice games, whatever you want to call them, about litmus tests that we want to impose on people that don't apply to our community. I lived in Harris County when there were no Republican judges in Harris County. Nobody went around saying, have you voted in the Democratic primary then? You know, times have changed and our communities have changed. And we're blessed with that. We're blessed with a community with great leaders. And we need to embrace those who are willing to sacrifice to serve you, to bring your values to Washington. And we need to look at people not based on what they did 14 or 15 years ago, or even 6 or 8 or 10. But are they people of integrity and of values and of consistency of character? Whether I've given to Democrats or Republicans, ask if I've given to people with good character. Ask if we have supported people for valid reasons. That's what's important. And more importantly, ask what we're ready to do now and what we're ready to do for the future. Because that's what you really have to care about. This race is about the future, folks. It's not about the past. I'm ready to move forward with you in this community, and I know you are too. Thank you.
Let me tell you that it's really wonderful sitting here between two native sons of this county who I've come to know and like. The short answer is no, but if I can expand on that a little bit, let me give you some of my history. Most of these people here are young folk who are running. I'm 68 years old. My first election was in 1964 for Barry Goldwater for president. At the Cow Palace, I was one of the people who helped organize the largest youth rally for Mr. Goldwater. The speaker at that rally was a little-known actor who became the governor of California and then became president of the United States. Of course, we're talking about Ronald Reagan. Goldwater's policies were a strong national defense, support for the free market economy, and individual liberty. He never got a chance to implement those, but Reagan did. Reagan, implemented a strong military. We had peace through strength, and the Cold War was over. He supported the free market economy, and the economy rebounded. and individual liberty. That's where I'm coming from, folks. That's where I started in this whole thing. I've been, a precinct chair. I've been an election judge. I currently run the elections process in Galveston, where I'm going to be taking off from that job because it's not appropriate for me to have that when we start programming ballots. But to me, integrity and support for whoever gets the nomination is important. So and I want to tell you, folks, most of the people who are up here are people of integrity. Most of us are people who have an idea of what we want to do. And so each one of us, no matter who gets chosen, you can have a good congressman, I believe. Thank you.
Mr. Troncalli.
Thank you, Angel. This is an important subject because of the family values I learned as a child. I became a conservative. And when I went to Lamar University and studied economics, I became president of an organization called Students for Free Enterprise. Why? We didn't have a very viable Republican Party. It was just a fragment of one. And we certainly didn't have anything called a Tea Party. But this was a way I could go around to business groups and Rotary clubs and what have you, and schools, and talk about the importance of free enterprise, free markets, and our freedom. The ability to be all that you can be, all that God wants you to be through our free enterprise system, not through some sort of a socialized country. And when I met Denise, of course, we talked about politics probably on our first date. And in 1984, we attended the Republican Convention. That was when Ronald Reagan took his second term. And then I came back home to Beaumont. Denise came with me as my wife. And we were Republicans. And there were just a few Republicans in the room, quite frankly. And I remember one night going to meet Denise at a restaurant. A United States congressman got in my face because I had a lapel that said, "Vote Republican." I was merely exercising my First Amendment rights. He was about 6 inches from my face, pounding my chest, while a judge said, "No young lawyer in Jefferson County should ever be a Republican." Well, I couldn't sacrifice my personal values, our values, what we believe, because I'm a conservative. I am a conservative by conviction, not by convenience. And I continued, along with Denise and the support of my wife and children, worked with other Republicans day after day after day, went door by door for Ted Poe, for different candidates, having doors slammed in my face, being cussed at. But I stayed true to my values and my principles, my conservative principles. And as I look around, we kept talking about the policies of our platform, what we really believe as Republicans. And lo and behold, more and more people said, "I believe in that too. I believe in family values. I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe in limited government." And these are things, I'm pro-life, all these things that are near and dear, that we need to get government out of the way so that business can go about the business of creating jobs in the private sector, so that we can be strong as a nation. So I continued, and many continued. And because of the work of so many in this room tonight, this theater is filled with Republicans. Why, just a few years ago, this would not have happened. But now this entire area is Republican. Jefferson County is now electing Republican officials. Orange County's flipped, Hardin County, Liberty, Chambers. All these areas, many of those counties are in my SREC, State Republican Executive Committee district. So I am a committed conservative Republican. I've borne some of the slings and arrows of it. I've been ridiculed by many in my profession for standing up for conservative viewpoints. But I am who I am, and I go to Washington, if you so elect me, with the very conservative principles that make me who I am.
Thank you.